Hello, Read 3302 students. This is Dr. Ryan. I'm here today to introduce the book choices that you have for your first literature circle. Watch this video, think about what book you might like to choose, and then head over to the Google Doc that will be linked at the end of this video and sign up for your choice. Right? We talk a lot already in class about how choice is really important, and so this is an opportunity for you to have some choice in our class. So here are your choices. The first choice is Henry's Freedom Box. The subtitle is A True Story from the Underground Railroad. The story is a beautiful story. It's historical fiction, but based on an actual person named Henry Box Brown. And Henry was born into slavery. He was an enslaved person. And the book tells about his life and eventually what he tried to do to escape. And let's see if I can find a good example. I'll give you a hint. He actually mails himself to the north. Okay, so this is Henry's story, and you can see what happens. So if you like historical fiction, if you're interested in issues of enslavement and issues of those kinds of issues of oppression, this might be a book for you. Your second choice is Amelia and Eleanor Go for a Ride by Pamela Munoz Ryan. It is also based on a true story, and it's about the friendship between Amelia Earhart and Eleanor Roosevelt. Right, so Amelia Earhart, the pilot, and Eleanor Roosevelt, the first lady. And so this is actually, again, based on a true story of their friendship, and it details a night that they got together at the White House and then ditched the Secret Service and went flying around D.C. If you are interested in women's issues, if you're interested in friendship, if you're interested in the kinds of things that these two pretty cool ladies did just in a time when really women weren't supposed to go off on their own and fly around the city, then this might be a book for you. Next choice is called Henry and the Kite Dragon. Has, again, like the other books, has some beautiful illustrations. This book takes place in New York City, specifically in Chinatown, and at the sort of the turn of the century, so like the 1910s and 20s. And it is a story about these kids in Chinatown and the fabulous, fabulous kites, really decorative, fancy kites that they make in their neighborhood and that they fly. But once they fly these kites, they actually have another group of kids who are Italian kids in a neighboring neighborhood. And these kids start to knock down their kites, right? They start to basically bully them and attack their kites. And so this story is about what happens when these two groups of kids kind of come together and try to work out this conflict that they have. If you're interested in bullying, if you're interested in ethnic differences, if you're interested in cities and sort of how lots of diverse people have to find a way to work together in a small space, then this might be a book for you. Next choice is Pink and Say by Patricia Polacco. This is a really, really powerful book. Hopefully you know Patricia Polacco already as an author. She's a wonderful author for intermediate students, so we'll say her name and you'll hear about her a lot in this class. She writes really powerful books, often that have some sort of connection to her own life. If you've read Thank You, Mr. Fokker, if you've read, I don't know, she has lots of The Lemonade War, if you've read In Our Mother's House, those are all her books. Thunder Cake, lots and lots of books. So this is a story of two youth during the time of the Civil War, right? Sheldon and Pincus. And it's about what happens when they meet and when they come together and how they help each other. And of course, one is white and one is African American. And they have to come together across a lot of differences in this time of war and in this time of conflict in our country. So the story is what happens to the two of them, what happens in their friendship, and how they manage to sort of connect and help each other. It's a really powerful story of this sort of friendship across differences and this idea about how we can help each other and sort of see each other. So that might be a book for you. Next choice is 14 Cows for America. I love this book. I feel like I say that about all of them, but I really love this book. I'm not going to tell you everything that it's about because I think that's part of what's interesting about this book when you read it. But again, I hope you can see that the illustrations are gorgeous. And the story is about this main character here. His name's Amelia. And he has been living in the United States, but he's from Kenya. He's from the Maasai group in Kenya. Right? And so he's been studying in the United States, and he comes home after something happens to tell his family and his community about this thing that's happened that he lived through. And so the story is about his reconnecting with his community here in Kenya and about what his community decides to do when they hear his story. Okay, that's all I'm going to say about this one for now, but it's very, very powerful. If you are interested in cross-cultural differences, if you're interested in the ways that we can sort of help each other even across boundaries, even across differences, if you're interested in I think how else to sort of explain it. If you're interested in sort of the power of the human spirit, right? Sort of what people can do and how much people can serve each other, this might be a book for you. It's really, really good. Here's your next choice. It's called Voices in the Park. This book of all of them is maybe the most different. It's the most interesting. If you're a person who likes things that are a little bit bizarre, a little bit ambiguous, a little bit unclear, like, what? Why would they? That's what? If you're a person who likes that kind of thing, then this might be a book for you. If you're a person who likes very clean-cut stories that you know exactly what happens and there's not a lot of questions, this might not be a book for you, okay? So in some ways, this story is about people in a park, but it's also about a lot more than that. So you'll notice here it says first voice. Okay, so this book is told from multiple perspectives. If you like to look at the illustrations and sort of try to figure out what in the world might be going on in these, then that might be a good book for you. This book is really different. It's really interesting. If you like to go back and look and think and look some more and think some more and try to figure stuff out, then this might be a really good book for you. The illustrations in this book are really important, and there's just so much to talk about. So if you're interested in any sort of story like that, and again, this sort of what happens when we look from different perspectives, this might be a good book for you. 2 more choices here. Here's one. This is Fly Away Home. It's by Eve Bunting. She's also a really, really popular children's author and writes a lot for intermediate students, so keep her name in your memory when you're looking for books for your students. This story is about a little boy and his dad, and they live at an airport. Right, so they're homeless. And this is the story of how they make that work, right? What life is like when you don't have any other place to live, and how they manage to keep the airport as a place where they can stay, right? If you're interested in sort of social issues, if you're interested in how kids are affected by the world around us and by issues that families face, if you're interested in poverty, if you're interested in homelessness, and how kids particularly experience those things, then this might be a book for you. And last but certainly not least is The Other Side by Jacqueline Woodson. I have a lot of favorite children's books and favorite children's authors, but Jacqueline Woodson might be my favorite author. She's just wonderful. And The Other Side was one of my favorites. So this book is about 2 little girls, Annie and Clover, and they live near each other. I don't know if you can see in that picture. But they've been told that they're not supposed to play together. They're not supposed to cross the fence. Okay. So this is a story of the 2 of them trying to figure out why they've been told that and what they do in response. Okay. I think you'll probably clearly see that this is very much a story about race and about people in communities that are divided by race. I also think there are some other kinds of topics that the book also brings up. So maybe if you're a person who likes to look for those kinds of meanings, if you're interested in race, if you're interested in communities and the ways we build community or the ways that we keep divisions in community, then this might be a book for you. Again, really powerful and really a lot to talk about. So there we have it. You have 8 different choices. So think about that. We can have up to 2 groups of 4 students each. Okay, so 8 people can read the same book. And you'll see that on the Google Doc. Just to recap, Henry's Freedom Box. Amelia and Eleanor Go for a Ride. Henry and the Kite Dragon. Pink and Say. "14 Cows for America." Voices in the Park. Fly Away Home. And The Other Side. They're all great books. I hope you find something that you like that's still available. So go ahead to the Google Doc that will be linked here and sign up.